Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today's exercise, we will be learning how to checkmate the opponent's king using our king and our queen. The objective, as with always when it comes to checkmating the king, is to chase the king to the corner of the board. Any corner will do, or any edge will do. We need to try and force them to any one of these edges. And the way we do that is using a method I like to call the L-shape method. What that entails is using our queen to create an L shape to our opponent's king. This L shape serves to force the enemy king to move into one of the corners. Let's see where he can move. So this king currently cannot move to the following squares. You'll see I'm highlighting them red. That's showing that the king may not move there, because if he were to move there, he'd be moving into check. These green highlighted squares are where the king would be able to move. He could move to any one of these three squares. Already only three squares available, even though he is in the middle of the board. You can see the power of the queen just covering all of these available squares for the king. Let's say the king chooses to go to f6. We will continue our L shape by moving to e8. The L shape continues. I like to simplify it and say just follow the king. It's just that easy. Where he goes, you follow. He moves down, you come one down, and you just follow him. The L shape continues. The king moves down, I follow with an L shape. He now moves up and to the left to g5. Well, guess what we're going to do? No secret over there. We are going to follow the king. He moves down, I follow. He moves down to the left, I'm going to follow. And already we can see, look how few available squares this enemy king now has. Our job is almost complete. The king moves to h2, and I follow. L shape again present, and king moves to the corner. Now we've got the king where we want him. These two squares are the only available squares that the black king now has. I could give this black king 100 moves, and he would only be able to move to h2 and to h1. These are literally the only available squares that he can use. Okay? So all that's now required is we bring in our king to support our queen and deliver the final blow, which will be checkmate. White now plays king f2. Black plays king h2. And white plays queen g2. Checkmate. Checkmate, the king is in check and he cannot move anywhere. He cannot escape the check. We've addressed this before. Checkmate is, the definition of checkmate is that the king is in check and that he cannot escape the check, no matter what he does. It's also worth mentioning that the king is unable to take our queen, because our king is defending the queen. It's just that simple. So if he were to try to move to any of these squares, he'd be moving into check, and we know that these are illegal moves and he may not move there. Thus, the enemy king has been checkmated. If I were to go back a few moves, back to this position, where we're already restricting black's king to these last few squares, we continued the L shape in king here. I want to talk about L-shaping the king in the corner. And this is a big no-no for those of you who have heard my lectures before on this king and queen checkmate. We never L-shape the king in the corner. And we're going to talk about why that is. If I were to play queen g3 in this position, we'd look carefully for a move for the black king, but we wouldn't find one. There are no available moves in this position. The king is unable to move anywhere. He is stuck, but he is not in check. And this is called stalemate. The result of stalemate is a draw. This game has therefore been drawn now officially, and that is half a point for both parties. So nobody wins. A great shame for White, who was merely, looks like, 2 moves away from finishing the game. He would have just played King F2 and then come Queen G2, as we previously saw, delivering checkmate. So a very important one here, a big no-no to L-shape the king in the corner, because that is stalemate. Let's recap on what we've learned. Let's go back to the starting position. All right, so we started here. We had the opponent's king in the center. We said that the first thing we need to do is we need to create an L shape of any kind. Note that if I moved queen here or queen here, even queen to G4, also, these are all L shapes as well. You can think of an L shape as if your queen were a knight, it would be attacking the enemy king. These are all the available L shapes in this position. So you just need to get your queen to one of those. Anyone will do. And from there, you simply follow the opponent's king till you force him to the corner, which will then allow you to deliver checkmate. Let's try a different one for this version. And you'll see it's essentially exactly the same thing. In this case, we'll go queen F3. We've got sort of, sorry about that. We've got an L shape, basically the same thing. Just the other way around. The king is now L-shaping to the queen, or it's an upside down L. We continue the L shape. We follow the opponent's king. He goes up, we come up. He comes down to the left, we come down to the left. And the process continues. We follow him all the way to the corner, and he's only got these 2 available squares as previously discussed. So again, same principle applies. We do not L shape the king once he's reached the corner, as that will be stalemate and that will cost us the game. We'll have a draw here instead of winning the game, which is exactly what we don't want. So to backtrack, at this stage, once you've got him trapped in the corner, you simply bring your king in for support. Our plan is to get this king to the C7 square. I think C6 will also do the job. Either one of those will do. And we just march our king up the board, looking to get to those squares. Already at this stage, I can play queen B7. That will deliver mate. I could prolong it. Let me maybe play king c7 here. It's not going to make a great deal of difference. Just one extra move for black again. He's sort of stuck completely. And now I have queen to either one of these 2 squares, queen b7 or queen b8, delivering mate. All right. Thank you very much for listening to this video. This is from Coach Matthew Jonker. Presenting how to checkmate using the king and the queen on leadchess.org. Thank you very much.